You asked, and we are finally here to answer. It is now time to develop what is arguably one of the most highly sought after JBI Spec DIY kits to date. After years of demand for the JBI Spec WP XACT Pro 8950 Gen 2 shock DIY kits, Ride JBI has officially begun R&D. In this video series, we will grant you an inside look at the development process of the JBI Spec WP XACT Pro Gen 2 DIY kits. The goal is to take an already high-performing WP kit shock and make it perform better overall. That means even smoother feel over the small and medium bumps, better hold up during aggressive riding, and better bottoming resistance. We want all of it.
Welcome back to Ride JBI. My name is Anthony and I'm alongside my coworker JB, and today we are beginning episode 1 of a multi-part video series which is developing the JBI Spec XACT Pro 8950 DIY shock kits. The first DIY kits that we are focusing on is going to be for the 2016 to 2022 KTM, Husqvarna, and Gas models. And yes, for the Gas, it will extend up to model year 2023. To conduct this test, we are using my personal 2022 Gas MC350F, which has also been used to develop JBI Spec XACT Pro 6500, XACT Pro 7548, and OEM and/or stock WP linkage shock settings. With our extensive knowledge and background of suspension testing across multiple years and across multiple manufacturers between myself and JB, we are carrying that same level of craftsmanship and expertise into this all-new product. It is now time to have JB take over with the more technical details of what is to come in our upcoming JBI Spec DIY Pro shock kits.
When it comes to developing upon existing suspension settings and attempting to improve the suspension overall, it is important to always have a benchmark for comparison to measure your results. On the table in front of us, we have two brand new WP XACT Pro 8950 Gen 2 shocks. One of these shocks will remain completely stock, while the other shock will be modified to our already existing and developed JBI Spec WP XACT Pro settings. These two shocks will be ridden back to back for evaluation. Also, we will utilize our JBI Spec WP OEM shock as well for a third comparison, because that shock already features similar updates that will be incorporated into this WP Gen 2 kit shock. Keep in mind, we already have positive feedback on our JBI Spec WP XACT Pro 8950 Gen 2 shock settings. However, at Ride JBI, our philosophy is continuous development, meaning each year we pick up where we left off and we revisit our settings to see where we can improve. While the WP XACT Pro 8950 shock is a high-performing shock, there are key areas I'd like to see changed and improved so that this shock features similar hardware as the WP XACT Pro Gen 3 shock that came out in 2023 that fits the 23 model bikes all the way up to 2027. The WP XACT Pro 8950 Gen 3 kit shock saw numerous hardware updates and shim setting updates that reflect that new hardware. In short, our goal for the JBI Spec WP XACT Pro Gen 2 shock kit DIY kits is to update the shock to closer resemble the Gen 3 version that replaced it. Now, Anthony and I are visual learners, so instead of talking about what we're going to do, let's head over to the JBI Shock Lab and start disassembling one of these shocks and show you what's inside. Awesome. So step number 1 for any shock you're working on is you want to back out the clickers. So first we're going to do the compression clickers on top. In order to do that, you're going to want a number 4 Allen. And then after that, we'll do the 2 rebound clickers on the bottom, which would be a Phillips flathead screwdriver. So I'm going to do the high-speed clicker first. Now this clicks every quarter turn. And you're going to go all the way until you feel it lightly stop. Now your low speed clicker, it clicks every 1/8 of a turn. It's much more finer of clicker adjustment. Next up we have our rebound clicker and our tracks function clicker. So first let's back out the rebound. Cool, and I feel it lightly seated. I'm going to go back just to click. And next we're going to do the tracks clicker. Now this one you're going to feel more resistance on. That because there is a rather stiff spring located in the shock shaft that is pushing against this clicker. So there's nothing wrong when you feel a little more resistance. Make sure you have the screwdriver head firmly planted in there so it doesn't want to slip out while adjusting this clicker and backing it out. Perfect. And I'm going to go back in just a click, because sometimes when you back out clickers, you don't get it back to the next detent. So I like to go back to whatever detent that was there, so that way the clicker is firmly in position. Next up is we want to remove the spring on here. I love these shocks because they feature an extra preload adjuster, so it makes it a lot easier to use. Now we have an electric, we call it the vroom vroom tool right here, which makes removing these a lot more quicker and easier to do. You can use a T-handle or just a number 8 socket. You're going to be here quite a while. Now a trick is you don't want to use this on the high speed setting, because when you do that, you're going to get this thing rather hot. You got this worm gear spinning pretty dang quick. So kind of take your time, because this is a lot faster to use than, again, a T-handle, but don't get too carried away. So don't get too carried away when using this. A lot of times if I'm making this X-trig travel quite far, I'll even pause every couple of seconds, because again, I don't want to overheat this unit. Cool, so what's happened now is the X-trig has bottomed out against our clamp that holds it in place. I'm going to go back just a little bit so we don't have consistent pressure pushing against this clamp. Now with this shock, the spring is still not going to be loose in order for you to remove it. So we have some spring compressors here at the shop that we're going to utilize to compress the spring a little bit more in order to get to our circlip here at the bottom. Now to do that, we want to mount this shock. We're going to use our parallel jaw vise we have over here. If you're working on suspension, I highly recommend to get some sort of soft jaws that are aluminum. These are by the brand called Yoast, and they will fit pretty much any vise out there. You just want to match the width of the vise jaws that you have. We got 2 flat spots right here on the shock, so that's where we're going to be clamping on this. And we're going to have to offset it. I'd love to go in the center, but because of how this is designed, we can't do that. So we're going to have to offset it over here on the side. And we'll get that in there nice and tight. Now those 2 flat spots and how it's machined and mounted, you can get it really tight because you're not really constraining or putting any of the shock under pressure or force that shouldn't be. So let's go grab our spring compressor so we can compress this down and get this retaining clip off. All right, you guys, so I've mounted our spring compressors on here. These are made by a brand called Pit Posse. There's a lot of other alternative spring compressors out there on the market. Other ones by Grace Tech, they kind of hook around the shock shaft. You can push down on the spring. Those work well also. It's not too common we have to use these items. So I like these. They're simple. They're effective. To be honest with you, usually when you work on these shocks, we just have 2 people. One comes in and he pulls on the spring, and then we work really frantically to pop it out. But if you're working solo, it's a great tool to have. Most importantly now, this is our circlip right here. We need to pop that out so we can take everything off. I have this nice seal puller tool by Snap-on. We call it the hockey stick tool because it looks like a hockey stick. And we're going to use that to pop out our circlip. Whoop. And then before I slide this off, I'm going to retake these off, and then I'll show you another trick on how to get this spring off if you don't have a spring compressor, but you do have some extra time. So great job so far. You got the spring off. Now earlier I said there's another trick to getting the spring off if you don't have a spring compressor. In order to do that, when you move this preload adjuster up all the way, you're going to loosen this, I believe it's a number 3 Allen, and you're actually going to take this piece up and all the way off, and that'll allow you to keep threading this farther up. There's just some extra steps. If you do decide to go that route, take a picture of your shock and how this is aligned and kind of offset. So that way when you put it back together, you know exactly where to locate these items, or you could even take a marker and mark it right above here. Next, what we need to do is we need to remove what's called the shock body bumper cap. That's this piece here in red. When it comes to removing the shock bumper cap, there's 2 methods that you can utilize. The most common method you see out there is going to be using a punch and a hammer. And what you're going to do is you're going to locate the punch inside of the hole, kind of angle it up, and you're going to lightly tap. Now what you're going to want to do is work your way around it evenly and start taking it all off from one side. If you do that, what's going to happen is the cap is going to strike the shock shaft. Most likely you won't damage it. What I like to do, if using the punch method, is let's slide down this bumper If you do decide to use the punch method, I recommend taking the bumper, sliding it down, and covering the shock shaft, just on the off chance when you're doing it, if you miss with your punch and you don't strike the shock shaft. Now we do have another method as well. You can use what's called a radial pin spanner. And as you'll see, we got two, we'll call them screws that come on through the sides. And we're gonna locate that in the holes and it'll allow us to rotate this cap and pretty much lift it off. Both methods work. This method is a little bit cleaner in the sense of you don't really leave any tool marks behind on the shock body. Neither is gonna have any effect on the performance of the shock, but if you wanna do it as clean as possible, this is definitely the preferred method to go. I got this off of Amazon. They're really cheap, and I recommend you get one as well. Now, we've been using this method for quite some time here at Ride JBI. We do see a company in Europe that came out with a specific tool for it. We're glad to see that becoming more popular. And easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as they sometimes say. So now that we have the bumper cap removed, we can actually see the seal head assembly. The next step is we want to remove the nitrogen out of the shock absorber. Now keep in mind this is nitrogen, it's not nitrous oxide, so you're hoping to huff it and get high. Nothing's gonna happen, man, so don't even waste your time. So let's unthread what's called the Schrader valve cap. Now I did reorientate the shock and the vise mostly just for the video so you can easier see what I'm working on. We have now exposed what's called the Schrader valve. This is just like what is on your tires when you inflate them with air. And I have a small little screwdriver that I'm going to use to depress what's called the Schrader valve core to release the nitrogen from the shock. Now this shock is brand new, but if you're working on a used shock and you're likely going to want to service and or replace the bladder, or at least inspect it. In that case, you would push down on this red cap right here. It's going to expose a snap ring. Pop the snap ring out, pull out the bladder assembly, replace it. We're not going to do that because the shock is brand new and we don't need to go through those extra steps. So now that we've let the nitrogen out of the shock, we will be able to depress what's called the seal head on the shock, and I'll show you two different methods on how to do that. In my hand is what we call the seal head setting tool. There's a nice little slit inside of it that allows us to install it as such, and then we can push down on the seal head to expose the circlip. That's what we're going to use in order to work on this, but I'll also show you an alternative method. You can also just use two flathead screwdrivers or two any blunt objects, and you're going to want to push down on the seal head. I like to go kind of close to the dust seal so it doesn't slip, and you're going to want to push down again in order to expose the snap ring. This method, you might scratch the surface of the seal head a little bit so it's not as clean when it comes to the craftsmanship of working on the shock. However, it won't have any effect on the actual performance of the shock. But again, if you're a tool guy like me, getting the actual correct tool really helps things go a lot easier. And again, as you work on the shock, this level of craftsmanship and how clean it is just is a little bit higher. Now I'll let this cap drop back down and I'll use that to push down with my fingers. And that one was pretty easy. Some shocks may be a little more difficult to push down on them. If you ever push down and you see the seal head coming back up, what you want to do is push down and then relieve more nitrogen from the shock itself, and that'll help it stay down. We got our hockey stick tool back out. We're going to use that to remove the snap ring here. We want to find the gap in the snap ring, and we're going to go pretty close to that gap in order to remove it. You're going to want to go above it, push down, and then get behind it. So this shock is brand new. If you're working on a dirty shock or one that's been ridden, more than likely you're going to have a bunch of dirt and contaminants in that area. So please take a rag, especially an oily one, that's preferred, and you're going to wipe out all along the inside right here so you can clean out all those contaminants. I can't stress enough how important this step is, because if there's any dirt or contaminants, as you try to remove the shock assembly from the shock body, that grit's going to get stuck in between the seal head, and it's going to make it very hard in order to remove it. Also, it's going to scratch up the inside of your shock body as well. And again, we talked about, we want our craftsmanship to be as high as possible. So really take your time and clean that out. Luckily for us, we're working on a brand new shock, so this one, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now, as we remove it, the shocks are going to be creating a vacuum behind it, so it's going to want to pull the assembly back in. Now, we can counteract that if we like by draining it of the oil, and we can do that by removing this Allen, and we're going to go ahead and do exactly that. Now, in order to remove it, we can do it while it's located in the vise. It'll be upside down. Instead, I'm going to use our V-jawed vise over there, so it's right side up, and it's a little bit easier to work on and show you guys how it looks. Cool. I'm just going to orientate this a little bit like this, so this is more towards the camera. But that way we can give WP some good branding and credit for the awesome shock absorbers that they do make. I have a number 5 Allen key in my hand. As you'll see, this is a flat tipped Allen key. I highly recommend you not use a ball tipped Allen key for this application. These sometimes can be in there pretty tight. So we're going to get our wrench set to the loosening position. And especially if it's the first time using it, you want to give it a firm little whack to break it loose. And then now we're going to take our time. I can't stress enough, only do this once the shock is empty of gas, or else you are going to have a flying projectile of a screw coming at you, along with a lot of oil too. So now we got the bleed bolt removed. Let's turn the shock upside down, and we can kind of cycle out the oil that's inside of it. Now I spent some time pumping the shock to get all the oil out of it, not all of it that we showed on the camera. Reason being is, even though I love suspension, I freaking hate getting oil on myself and oil everywhere. So we really take our time here to get the shock completely empty. Now we're going to be able to pull out this shock shaft assembly from the shock body a lot easier because it won't be pulling a vacuum behind it. Now that all the oil has been evacuated from it, and we still have the bleed bolt removed. So here's a look at the WP XACT Pro 8950 Gen 2 kit shock. Well, this concludes our episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2, where we further disassemble the shock. We talk about the hardware that we're going to be modifying and just giving you a lot more insight and details as we give you a deep inside look at the development of our coming soon JBI Spec WP XACT Pro 8950 Gen 2 shock DIY kits.